What's good, everybody? I'm gonna give it a little time, a couple more people to get in here. I haven't done it in a while, so I want to make sure a lot of people get in here so we can kick it off. So I'm gonna wait the 2 minutes. I'm gonna throw a little Florida water on my hands. Everybody, I'm so happy to be back doing this. So happy to be back doing this. Y'all just don't know. I missed it. Well, I guess the notifications and the algorithms are a little bit off. Uh, it's not alerting the majority of the people that it's supposed to at the right time. So I'll probably post something on the social media platform stating I'm gonna do it just to alert a couple more people. But since it's been the 2 minute mark, I gotta get into it. Oh, excuse me for yawning. Trust me, I'm not tired. That's how spirit work in me. So today, good people, well, this morning, I want to talk about an ancestor, right? And I want to talk about this version of an ancestor that is overlooked. And this ancestor is overlooked so much to where they fade away throughout history. We don't give the energy of this ancestor enough credit. Now, let me make this clear. When I say we don't give this ancestor energy and not the ancestor itself, I'm talking about the energy, enough credit. Throughout history, and I'm going to be tactful with my words because I don't want a page strike. Throughout history, there has been ancestors who have taken the charge dealing with medical issues of our bloodline and our lineage. These ancestors took the hypothetical and sometimes immoral hit for our bloodline in order to get healing to that which was plaguing us. And I want you guys to think. I want you guys to think what I'm saying now. I got to be tactful with my words. We can go up here and talk about Tuskegee. We could go and talk about the Native Americans. We can go and talk about various other cultures around the world and how their ancestors had to take various prescriptions on an experimental basis. Those ancestors get lost to time, and we just write them all in with, okay, Auntie Betty and Great Grandma Sue. But in my heart and in my mind, those ancestors should have a separate, special place. Hey, how y'all doing? Those ancestors should have a secondary spot, a separate spot. I'm gonna get to praying in a second. I'm gonna get to praying in a second, Spirit. Why did you show me that image? I got it. Spirit trying to get me to pray now, but I gotta explain what I'm gonna be praying so you guys can understand what we're praying for. Those ancestors who stood in the forefront for us when it came to the medical profession, these ancestors get lost to time, people. We didn't know that great grandma took a cancer treatment knowing that she didn't know whether it was going to work or not, but she took it to gain us insight, intelligence on the thing. Let's talk about our military ancestors who fought in various wars around the world, civil rights, everything like that. These people was tested on, and their name was lost to time, missing in action, killed in action, things of that nature. Everybody that ever went to an experimental dental college, everybody who caught an infection and took an experimental medication to make themselves better, these are the ancestors we're praying for. These are the ancestors who get no love, no justice, who we don't even know what they did, but they did it. And they fall in obscurity. You see, people, ancestor prayers, ancestor magic, ancestor anything requires everything to be segmented. Your immediate family, they go in that segment of immediate family. But what did that immediate family do for you during your lifetime that you knew them? Now they can go into caregiver, they can go into warrior class, they can go into this, they can go into that, on and on and on and on. And then they join the ranks of those ancestors who had those traits throughout the lineage. But nobody ever gives credit to that ancestor who stood in that line and got this for the greater good. We don't give it to them. We keep those people into what they did for us. But their biggest accomplishment was standing in the paint, standing in the fold for future generations, which that's what we call the unsung hero. And today we're going to pray for them, y'all. Today we're going to give them thanks, and we're going to say thank you for standing up, stepping in, taking experimental drugs. We all know the story of Tuskegee, but do we know the story of the Native Americans? Do we know the story of the Dominicans, the Haitians? Do we know the stories of the Spanish, the Europeans? They got ancestors too. Throughout history, they have experimented on our ancestors. And we sit up there and we benefited from it. Because once that ancestor perished, that ancestor came through down the line to somebody and say, our blood can't take that. That took out so-and-so. And they downloaded that to our spirit. And we became frightful, not fearful, frightful of that particular style of medicine, to which it saved lives. Did you know that in African Americans, 17% of the people are allergic to penicillin? So they have to use amoxicillin and various other forms of the drug penicillin. We wouldn't have known that if our ancestors wouldn't have took that particular penicillin and learned and saw the reaction, the breakouts, the boils, the sickness, the unlivingness. These are heroes, people. These are heroes. I hope y'all getting what I'm saying here. We just don't do these morning meditations for our ancestors just because, and we group them all in one box. If you go back and watch every last one of them, every last ancestor prayer has its own theme for that particular ancestor grouping. Because it is needed. Everybody needs to be respected, honored, and cherished. All of our ancestors need to be remembered. Not just remembered for being an ancestor, but they need to be remembered for the sacrifices and the job they did while they was living. We can never see what they did. We can never go back in time and say, hey, I see you straddling that fence. I see you bucking that mule. I see you pass away from being kicked by a horse by you trying to break it. Domestication of animals. Farmers, business tycoons, railroad workers, steel mills, food industry back in the day. Trial and error. We'll never get to see it. But instead of us grouping every last single ancestor into one pot and saying ancestor, let's give them credit where credit is needed. And with the time period that we're going through, this is the most appropriate ancestor to be praying for, because we're praying for them to give us protection throughout all of these experiments that's going on in the world. And I'm being tactful with my words. Wish I could say a little heavier statement. We need to honor them, because right now, we're those ancestors, people. We're the ones that's being experimented. We're the ones that's standing in the paint. The cycle repeats itself. So in the future, when your children's children begin to think, and they happen to stumble across this video right here, and this video is on the medical front of it all, the people who allow themselves to be touched by the medical profession on an experimental level, that's us. It's come full circle. So when I was in my prayer closet, I say, just like a preacher, I say, what am I going to talk to these people about? I say, I done lost all ancestor this, all ancestor that. They said, you ain't lost. They say, what's going on in the real world? They say some ancestors had to take them polio vaccines, and ancestors had to take this ancestors had to take that. Some of them didn't make it. Their name got lost to history. But we not finna let them suffer and fall into obscurity. We're gonna tell their story. We're gonna pray for them. We're gonna thank them. We're gonna honor them. Because it's happening right now to us. And I would damn sure want somebody to thank me to recognize what I've done for my lineage, for my people. Now, I know there's a lot of, and I'm finna get on my high horse right quick before we get in this prayer. I know there's a lot of specialists out there who pride themselves on being ancestor privy, ancestor knowledge strong. But if you all can't break those ancestors down into the grouping that they need to be grouped in, to give them the proper praise, respect, and honor, then you're just talking about the same old damn ancestors that everybody go to, which is the grandma, the great-grandma, the great-granddaddy, great-grandpa, brother, cousin, uncle, that died in their lifetime. We take this thing back millions of years to the primordial being, to the primordial ancestor, the one that slid up out the water, the one that dropped out the tree, to the one that was tracking salt, getting their nutrition from bugs. We taking it all the way back to them. You guys are going to be an expert on ancestors, and you guys are going to be able to use your ancestors in your spells by the time I get done. Various avenues of our lives, there's an ancestor who stood in the paint for it. Love, war, medical, even cooking, even even down to the point of fear-based, cowardice, running. There's ancestors that stood in the paint and is known for that and should be honored and respected for that. And right now, this morning, we're going to honor those ancestors who stood in the forefront for us on the medical front, who took the hit, who unknowingly stood in those lines. People, this is real. Spirituality is not a game, a fad, or a trend. People can sit up there and proclaim to be witches, warlocks, and mages all day long. But when you get down to the meat and potato, that ego leave and all the magic that you can do and all the intention spells that work for you and you alone, it goes away. And you're left with yourself. And when you're left with yourself, good people, you're left with your ancestor, because those are the thoughts, the subconscious in your mind that is permeating. So instead of going for a deity, an angel, a spirit, an Orisha, whatever, you talk to them ancestors first. And you say, ancestors, how do I fix this problem? What should I do? What did you do? What did your grandmama do? Relieve that to me. What did your folks do prior to me? Reveal it. And you'll start getting instant downloads. Which prayer to pray, you'll know all of that good stuff. And once you know, you execute it. And things get better. Because you called upon that ancestor first. You allowed that ancestor time to help its lineage, to which it gets blessed throughout heaven, throughout the realm that it exists in, because it's doing its job. And right now, in this time of so much sickness, despair, and fear, I want to talk to my ancestor who stood in the paint for me. I want to talk to my ancestor who stood in that line for me. I want to give thanks to that ancestor who took that experimental drug, who allowed that experimental operational procedure to be done on them. That's the ancestor I'm thanking today. Because we all know what's going on in the world. We all know the truth, anti or for. It just pains my heart that so many of our ancestors has fell into obscurity because we haven't been taught the proper way to worship. I'm not gonna use the word worship. We haven't been taught the proper way to accept their energy, to utilize their energy. Everybody is on the fad of ancestors because it's a African-based thing, they say. But then when you get into the Caucasian people, they got ancestors. You get into the Asians, they got ancestors. You get into the Hindu Indians, they got ancestors. And they teach their ancestors, they teach their kids to understand their ancestors. We're not teaching our kids to understand the ancestors. Now, I don't know if they're breaking them down into different various versions or actions that they've done. But since we are talking and the knowledge I have, I'm gonna help you guys understand your ancestors the proper way. I'm gonna help you understand that not all ancestors need to be prayed to for the certain emotion. If you got an ancestor and you trying to love somebody or learn to love yourself, why the hell you gonna pray to an ancestor that did battle? If you're looking to fight a battle, why the hell you gonna pray to an ancestor who preached peace? You see what I'm saying, people? I'm giving you small, vague things, but it's a way you need to approach these ancestors. You need to approach them for the ownership and the title that they did while they was living, for the life they lived. Not all of them going to one pot, one group, one altar. I'm just talking. Maybe I sound crazy. Maybe going over a couple people's head. Maybe, maybe I'm not a guru, so then again, I don't make sense. But I'm making sense. And it's very appropriate for you to group your ancestors in the category to which they belong. But Baron, I don't know what them people did in the past. The only thing I know, they got ancestors. And I say ancestors known and unknown. Put a little bit of spin on that one there. To all my ancestors, known and unknown, to the ones that fought for me, to the ones that stood in the pain for me, to the one that showed love to the world when the world didn't show love to them, to the ancestors who fought, scraped, and strived, to the ancestors who learned how to save money, to the ancestors who became millionaires and billionaires. You see how that's grouping them and you're calling that energy into your life? Now, I'd rather have an ancestor that worked himself up from the dirt to become successful, financially independent, and all that good stuff. I'd rather have him whispering in my ear telling me how to do better, to make better business decisions, than praying to a saint or a God and saying, could you make it happen for me? That's not excluding our saints and our deities and our God that work with us. We're just allowing our ancestors to give us a better focus on what to ask them for. Is it making sense, people? My camera just time jumped. That was crazy. I just seen it bleach and bleach. Wow. I guess I said something important. So everybody, today we are standing in the paint for those ancestors who took the medical initiative for us, who helped us understand, who was afraid as hell to get a treatment, but did it, reap the repercussions of it, good or bad. I like that. He said, nephew, I understand you. You don't go to the bakery when you want fruit. Exactly. And that's how our ancestors are. And we got to be mindful and wise to it, because we're going back to ancestors millions and millions of years ago. And not all of them was cooking in the kitchen with Aunt Betty. Some of them was tooth chippers. Some of them was race car drivers. Some of them did anything. Some of them was con artists and thieves and shysters. Some of them undead people. I mean, unalived people. We got all that shit in our history, but we need to learn to call on the energy that pertains to our current situation. And right now, there is no better time to call on the energy that pertains to our current situation and to ask those ancestors that stood in the paint and did those that filled out those medical surveys. And I'm being tactful with my words, people. I wish I could just talk straight to you, but I don't need all the nonsense. Those ancestors that did their medical due diligence for us, knowing or unknowing, but they did it and suffered the consequences or reap the benefits, either or. Mm-mm. Auntie Varice, I hear that. So, good people, without further ado, I think we got a grasp on what we're praying for, who we're praying for. So now I'm going to show you how to pray for them. And go back and listen to this. when you get time. O Heavenly Father, whose name we are not worthy to call, but whose grace and mercy we humbly ask. I ask that you allow me an audience with the Baron so that I may be able to communicate properly with my ancestors. Put up a shield of protection around us as we say this prayer to them, and we ask for their enlightened gifts, their understanding of procedures and policies. To my ancestors, those who stood in the paint for us on the medical forefront, those who took experimental actions just to see, just to get it going, just to feed your families. Those who was experimented on, those who was hurt, murdered, and everything else when it come down to this medical profession. I want to thank you so very much for your service to my lineage, for your service to my life, for your service to my health. I want to honor you and thank you and tell you, without you, we wouldn't be here. Without you, the majority of the world wouldn't be here. You changed lives unknowingly. You made us healthy, happy. You got some medicines on the market that heals. And then you found out some medicals on the market, some medicines on the market that don't heal. And because of you, the world is safer, stronger, healthier. And I want to thank you for it. You know the times that we're in, the procedures and policies that's going on, the fights through on Capitol Hills and various governments. You know what we're going through. I ask that you come down and you grant us peace of mind, safety, instill it in our heart if it's the right thing to do on the medical front. And put that fright, not fear, put that fright in us that we may know to back the hell up from it if it's not the right thing to do. This is what's plaguing everybody, ancestors, from every culture, every color, every creed. We are not relying on your expertise, your experience, your supernatural understanding of what's going on to help us make this decision. And we're fighting each other, and we're fighting these wars that we can't win because we are not designed to win the war against the biggest government entities and everything else around the world. So we call upon you to assist us with your understanding, your overstanding, your understanding. Put it in our soul, our minds, our hearts. What's going to be beneficial for us? For those who decide to take it and those who decide not to take it. Put it in our heart. We going off of you. You understand. You've been the experimental guinea pig once before. You understand where it's going to lead our lineage if we go here or if we don't go there. I thank you for your sacrifice. I thank you for your time. I thank you for your glory. I thank you for your intelligence. I thank you for your bravery. I thank you for giving me your energy when I was experimented on, when we were experimented on as a kid, when we had to take these inoculations and everything growing up in school and stuff. I thank you for standing in the forefront, holding us together when that medicine or whatever was probably would have tore us apart. I thank you, ancestors. I thank you for downloading to our parents what we can do and what we shouldn't do. I thank you. We all thank you. And we honor you and we cherish you. You are not forgotten. We're not going to group you into one single group and think that's it. Come through in our dreams. Come through, drop a name that we may put you on that altar. We may feed you. We may give you your proper meals, your proper upcomings. Yeah, I'm saying it. Come in, come through. Come through me. Come through us. Let us know, because you are here to help us to increase our knowledge and understanding of the medical field that's going on, to the medical things that's going on, the fear that we have, the agony that we're suffering, the pain, the hardships, the struggles. You are not forgotten. I'm not going to forget you, and neither will they. Everybody in earshot of my voice, they not going to forget you no more. You're here now. You're recognized. We ask that you come down and drop your knowledge into us. Expertise. Say yea or nay. Give us courage. Give us fright if we need it. To our Native American ancestors, I hear your cries from the grave. I hear your cries throughout time. I know they did some rough stuff to you, and I know they still doing stuff to you, and they still taking your DNA. They still experimenting on you. And the tribe has gotten so small that we need, tribe, listen to me good. We need to pray for our Native Americans. They make up 10% of the missing population of the world or better. And they such a small group at this time. There's something there, people. They're the ones taking the experimental hits. We need to pray for them. My soul goes out to them. We need to pray for our Spain, Spanish, Cuban, Haitian, Dominican, all around the world ancestors who done crossed our bloodline knowing and unknowing. They're going through something. Trials and tribulations, tests. And it's all due to the medical industry at the moment. This ain't natural. We need to pray their strength. Need to pray that they get where they need to go. That they ancestors, they direct ancestors come and uplift them and keep them strong, protected. This I ask in the name of the Father, Son, Holy Spirit. So mote it be, so mote it be, so mote it be. Good people, there was a lot we could have said there. There was a lot of people we could have prayed for. But I prayed what was laid on my heart. And this whole medical thing is tearing us apart. It's splitting families. It's dividing nations. And we can't allow that. And the only understanding we're going to get from it, if our ancestors come and give us that understanding, we're not going to get it from God or deity. We're going to have to get it from those who have walked our shoes prior. Those who understand what pain is. Those who understand what loss is. From those that understand that it may work out and it may not. It's a 50-50 chance of survival. Our deities can't understand that. They could just give us what we ask for. Every time the Baron talk, I'm gonna teach. Good people. I'm a little hazy right now. And I'm gonna be transparent. You know, the Baron enjoys being transparent because without you guys, I got nothing. Without me giving this information, you guys probably wouldn't get it the proper way. So I respect and I cherish and I care for every last single one of y'all out there. So since I've gotten over this thing, just in the past 2 days, it's like my equilibrium has been off a little bit. If I stand up too fast, I have to calibrate. If I step down a step, I have to really brace myself and focus on that step. Why? What disease, sickness, can allow that to happen to somebody super healthy? experimentations. So I'm in that closet calling on my ancestors who have been through some shit like this and asking them to correct what was done on any level, knowing or unknowing. People, we don't give all our ancestors credit enough. They're not one single grouping. They have various tasks they've done throughout history, various moments of greatness that galvanize them on the pages of God's book. Hell, sometimes even the lower levels book. There has been stuff that has galvanized them to where they need to fall in their own group. And for better or worse, these ancestors need to be recognized for that. And we need to be able to utilize those ancestors for that. We got people that have graduated, got a medical degree, working in the medical field, psychology field. Those ancestors from the past, we need to honor them, the counselors, the shamans. We got to honor them for that, for which they did, help alleviate mental stress. But right now, we're praying for the ancestor who stood in the paint and took those experimental actions on our behalf to help us understand what our DNA could handle and what it can't. So next time you're sick in that hospital bed, next time you're sick on your living room couch, next time you're just going through something, don't sit up there and call upon your God. Not yet. He exists. He or she, I should say, it. Identification is a thing nowadays. It exists. But call upon your ancestors to come in there and burn that shit off of you, move that shit off of you, or point directly to the issue that you're having. And tell your saint, your God, your deity, this is the problem. This is what you focus on. This right here, that little dot, that's what you gonna focus your healing energy on for your servant. And watch how things change. Everything is surgical. Everything is strategic. People, I hope I made sense to you this morning. I hope that you understand where I was coming from. And I hope that everybody stay happy, healthy, and safe. And I hope that you guys really start honoring your ancestors who stood in the paint for you on a medical level, on an experimental drug level. Because those ancestors not getting any love. Before I go, I don't know the name of this young lady, but I do remember hearing about her in history. How her cells was harvested and she make up, and her organs make up over 90% of the medical treatment that they're doing for us and the people of the world. I forget the name of this sister, but they took everything in her. And everything in her, Miss Lockett, okay. Yeah, Henrietta Lockett. They took everything in her, and everything in her is a medical. She's an ancestor, y'all. She's somebody's ancestor. And I give her thanks. Because without them doing that, maliciously, they did it. But without them doing that, we wouldn't have the medical advancements that we have to make us healthy, to make strong, healthy offspring for the future. That's who we prayed for this morning. People like her. She wasn't the only one. She's the only one in history that we know. People were built different back then. They ate different. They moved different. They worked harder. So everything in them was compact, strong. the blood was better. That's who we just prayed for. Now y'all see why this prayer is so important? Do y'all see why this prayer was needed? Without people like Henrietta, God bless her soul, God bless her body, God bless her remains, we would not be here properly. We'll probably be hunchback, crippled, and fucked. Everybody, I'm just doing what Spirit told me to do. Whether it makes sense to some, whether I piss a couple people off. Just know that who we just prayed for this morning makes all the difference in this time period right now. Makes all the difference, because those the warriors we need. That's that who needs to give us discernment on what we should and should not do, how we should act and how we shouldn't act. Some of us should take it. Some of us shouldn't take it. I'm not, because my ancestors ain't told me to. But some of us got complications and may just have to in order to sustain. That's when you go in there and you pray to your ancestors who have been through those trials. And you ask them what to do. Lay it on your heart. Is it in the best interest of your livelihood, your family, your lineage? Because keep in mind, our ancestors want to live on. And as long as we create another version of us in some form or fashion, they get to live another lifetime through that person, through that child, through that little girl, through that little boy. And that's what matters, keeping the lineage going. Everybody, I don't have y'all here for long enough. I gotta keep doing what I gotta do because I gotta work on these spells for you guys. Gotta give you guys that stuff for Patreon. Gotta make it happen for you. Promise is a promise. So, I'm about to get off this thing. Finna go walk my ass out there in that yard, let that sun beat on me a little bit. Pray to my ancestors. Then I'm gonna go in my closet, pray to my Baron. And then I'm gonna come get on this computer and I'm gonna come make it happen. So, again, you guys can view my readings. Their premieres every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time. The Soul Tribe is the best of the best of the best. Come through, see what's going on, learn a little thing, understand a little thing. Hell, guess what the problem is? Guess what the client holding back? Guess what the client need to do? Give you insight. They be in there listening and looking, and they trust me. These clients, they allow me to record them and put them up there so that they can help other people and see where your heart at in the tribe. I encourage you. It's eye-opening. It's awakening. Sometimes it's funny. Sometimes it's sad. Hell, the last couple ones been really great. Come through. And every Monday, 9 o'clock or 9:30, you meet me here for the morning meditation. We're going to get this together, and we're all going to be great spiritualists at the end of this. At the end of our cycle, we won't need a priest, a prophet, or a goddamn shoehorn to tell us what we can and cannot do in the spiritual world, because we will know the codes. That's my promise to you. You will know all the codes, the access, the sayings, and who and when and what to do. That's my promise to you. So I'm finna get off of this thing. All right, everybody, I'm the Baron, telling you guys to trust the you in the universe, because at the end of the day, that's all you got. Please like, share, and subscribe. Thank you all. Soul Tribe.